Good everyone, I'm IrishAnimeFan and welcome to the video. 2017 has finally come to an end and I'm honestly so glad that it's over because if you haven't heard, 2017 was a terrible year all around. Not only did dickhead Trump spend his first year in the White House reducing and regressing America into a dumpster fire, the celebrity sexual allegations, the natural disasters, the mass shootings, guys, there was a lot of tragedies that happened this year that I just wanted this year to be over and done with. The best way I could describe it is that if 2016 was jacked on steroids and beat the ever-loving shit out of you until you felt nothing at all, that's what 2017 felt like. But I don't want to dwell too much on the negatives here, as there were some positive aspects to the year as well. One of them being that there were some really good anime this year. While there weren't as many series that took the world by storm like we've seen in previous years, I still think that this was a pretty solid year for anime all around. Sure, we got some shows that were a bit mediocre or just downright awful, but I think the good outweighs the bad in this respect, considering this was my first full year of following currently airing anime. Though I wish I'd done a better job at it. And as you can guess from the title of the video, today I will be listing off my top 10 favourite anime from that year. Took me a bit of a while to get to one of these, but hey, better stupidly late than never, right? There are some ground rules I want to lay out first. Number one being that this is only limited to TV series, so no films or OVAs unfortunately. And number two is that this list is just purely my opinion, so it's not a definitive list, we're just having a bit of fun here, okay? Is that cool? Yeah, that's great. But before we get to the list, I'd like to go over some honorable mentions. The shows that didn't quite make the list, but I think you should still check them out regardless. Classroom of the Elite. While the last couple of episodes of Classroom of the Elite lose its momentum because of a lack of focus in its plot and overall direction, that doesn't detract its first half from being so entertaining. With characters and social commentary that has more depth to it than it's leading on, the series lulls you into a false sense of security and constantly leaves you guessing with its unpredictable nature. I've already made a video where I further elaborate on these points, so I recommend you check that out. World End. In a year that continues to thrive with generic light novel fantasy adaptations, World End was a breath of fresh air. It exchanges the cliché tropes in most modern light novel animes for more naturalistic character progression and an interesting concept that revolves around the themes of war and the effects it has on its environment. And while it didn't quite hit all of its marks, the emotions of its characters and tragic story is what nabs it an honorable mention. Suredure Children. With its short and sweet vignettes about high school relationships, this adorable romantic comedy hits it out of the park with its lovable couples and its hilarious situations that leaves you with a warm and fluffy feeling after watching it. Interviews with Monster Girls. While it's not exactly profound or complex in the way its themes are told, Interviews with Monster Girls is still an absolute pleasure to watch because of the resonance this anime has with me personally. While it may not be something everyone will understand, but if the metaphors for learning to accept disabilities interest you, then check it out, you'll probably just have as much fun as I did with the series. Recovery of an MMO Junkie. While it does fall into some of the trappings that a lot of romantic comedy anime are prone to, MMO Junkie is still an endearing anime that takes a sincere approach towards internet relationships, romantic or otherwise, that always manages to leave a smile on my face every time I watch it. Land of the Lustrous. This anime is one of those rare exceptions that proves that not only can 3D anime be really effective, but it would have been a worse off show if it were animated in 2D. This is definitely one of the best looking shows of the year, excelling in both animation and cinematography. However, while the show does benefit from an understated plot, intriguing world and individual characters, it's also a big drawback due to being more abstract than your usual fare of seasonal anime. Plus, its incomplete read the manga ending comes off as really cheap. Nonetheless, I think this is still a series that everyone needs to check out, mostly due for its incredible animation. And with that out of the way, let's now get on to the main event. These are my top 10 favourite anime of 2017. Number 10. Sukiyaki. This isn't the flashiest anime about school romance. There's no wacky hijinks, misunderstandings, or overly dramatic moments. It's just a couple of teenagers falling in love with each other. And honestly, if the show has a strong enough basis for its romance, then that's all the show needs to be a compelling watch. While Sukiyaki is a slow burn, I think that's supposed to be the point, as it allows the bond between our two main leads to develop at a natural pace. And natural is the word that best describes this show. as not only is their chemistry believable, they're also given lives, hobbies, and individual characteristics outside of their relationship that makes the audience connect with them even more. If you can look past its iffy CGI at points, then make sure you don't let one of the best romances of the year slip by you. It's so precious that it can touch even the blackest and most cynical of hearts. Number 9. The Saga of Tanya the Evil. On the surface, this show seems pretty gimmicky, with a premise set in an alternate World War I with our main character being a little girl fighting for the Axis powers. It's kind of hard to take seriously. But what makes it work so well is that it focuses less on the actual fighting and more on the battle of wits between a firm set of ideologies and a metaphysical, all-powerful entity, and how that tension builds throughout the course of the series. And what connects those two opposing viewpoints is our titular character, Tanya the Evil, who is easily the series' biggest strength. Even though she does some pretty evil stuff, as the title implies, she carries with her a magnetic presence, skilled tactics, and a charismatic and layered personality that makes her one of my favourite characters of the year. While admittedly she does overshadow everything else in the series, but because Tanya is such a joy to watch and she pretty much carries the series on her own anyway, then I can forgive it for the most part. As the first outing by newcomer Studio Nut, this was an impressive debut that makes me look forward to what future projects they have in store for us. Number 8. ReCreators. From the minds of Fate Zero director Ei Aoki and Black Lagoon writer Rei Hiroe, ReCreators is one of the most idiosyncratic anime I've seen in a long time. What if you were to take certain characters from various media and transport them into our world? Not only does that lead to some meta insanity, but it also provides some of the most unique commentary about the nature of being a creator in this day and age. I don't want to give too much of my thoughts away because I might end up dedicating a full review on this, but to keep it short, ReCreators offers fascinating insight into the mind of the people who create media in the way that's totally distinct from everything else that deals similarly with these themes. And even if there are a couple problems with the pacing and exposition, it's still a very entertaining thrill ride regardless, with its balls-to-the-wall action and epic soundtrack by Hiroyuki Sarano. Even if you end up not getting what it's trying to do, it's still an experience that you don't want to miss out on. Number 7. Little Witch Academia. Coming off the success of its 2 short films, this TV adaptation of the beloved franchise still keeps a lot of the fun that is present in director Yo Yoshinari's vision. Is it an anime that has an incredible amount of depth to it? Not really, although it does benefit from its relatable themes, vibrant cast of characters, and expressive animation courtesy of the always exciting Studio Trigger. But what it lacks in narrative, it more than makes up for it in emotional resonance. Its positive spirit and passion is written all over this series. And after all we fans have done to keep this series afloat through crowdfunding it on Kickstarter and other means to support it, the creators thought it would be best to give us something back in return. And what we got was this bundle of delight. It may not be a perfect series, but I'm still glad that the creators are still willing to make series like these and are able to keep the magic alive for generations to come. Number 6. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. It just goes to show that even after all these years, Kyoto Animation still knows how to make a damn good slice of life anime. It could have easily resorted to pandering schlock, but instead it became one of the most unique takes on the theme of family, conveyed through its colourful cast of characters and light-hearted comedy. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is an absolutely charming affair because it strikes a perfect balance between the amusing scenarios and the heartfelt character moments that Kyoto Animation knows how to pull off well, and I definitely hope they keep up that winning streak in the future. Number 5. Girls' Last Tour. This is a show that shouldn't have worked, but by juxtaposing 2 ideas as conflicting as moe characters set in a dystopian world, the duality of it all works so well that it became thought-provoking. It's a pretty simple show, all things considered, but its execution is what makes its straightforwardness so absorbing. In a world where all that's left is a barren and decayed wasteland where civilization once thrived, comes 2 lonesome girls, Chito and Yuri, hoping to make the most of what's left of the little resources that they have and try to stay optimistic about it. This duo are such a delight to watch, as Chito and Yuri are extremely likable characters in both their personalities and the believable connection they share with one another. So when they're traveling to some of the various locales the show presents, the audience is right alongside them through their journey. The show is also brimming with atmosphere, with its life philosophy and reminiscing about the little things that we take for granted in life, coupled with its expansive landscape shots and airy soundtrack that all drive its soothing tone and mood home. If you happen to not be a fan of this anime, however, well, I just have to say that the show actively dabs on you haters. Number 4. The Ancient Mattress's Bride. Since the series is still ongoing, I can't go into too much detail about it at the moment, and that's the reason why I'm holding it back from placing it any higher on this list. But the fact that it even managed to make it this high on the list because it's that good is quite remarkable. What really grabs me about this series is not only the well-told stories that are enriched with folklore, but also the intimate and dynamic bond between our two leads, Chise and Elias. The show goes to great lengths to show the differences and parallels between these two characters, and proves that while they can both survive on their own, they both need each other to live. And that's what makes their relationship so engaging. If Mattress's Bride still manages to be this exceptional coming into the new year, then we could be in for something special. Number 3. Scum's Wish. Scum's Wish sets out to shed light on the darker side of romance, and while that doesn't sound like much, its uncompromising way of showing it is what makes it stand out from other romance anime that I've seen. It tackles its themes of unrequited love and sexuality so honestly, and in the hands of characters who have become broken because of their decisions, that makes for a more melancholic experience. This is a series that shouldn't have worked, but paired together with effective visual storytelling, poignant writing, and a willingness to challenge its audience's prior expectations, made it one of the most memorable experiences I've had with anime this year. Even though the series is very divided amongst the community, and even the people who do like it probably wouldn't rank it this highly, I absolutely adored Scum's Wish, and in the year that was filled with such strong romances, none of them came close to this. Number 2. Made in Abyss. I don't think many people, including myself, expected much from it when the first previews were shown, but from beginning to end, I can say that I have never been so glad to be wrong about something. So much of the show's appeal can be attributed to its impeccable world building, the mystery surrounding the titular abyss that leaves you wanting more, the nature of its environment that results in some of the most awe-inspiring and horrifying scenes of the year. So when we, the audience, have grown accustomed to such excellent characters like Reg and Rico traversing through the unknown territories of the abyss, we actually feel for them when something good or bad happens to them. On almost every front, Made in Abyss is an absolute triumph for the medium, and if this were any other year, I would have definitely given it the top spot. However, there was one series this year that made a bigger impact on me. And my number 1 best anime of 2017 is My Hero Academia Season 2. Yeah, I know it's lame and predictable to put arguably the most popular anime of the year at the number 1 spot, but it's popular for a reason. And it's not just because it's a simple shonen series, but because it was able to build upon an already good first season, and to make it a better and more special experience. The story goes in new directions that I didn't even think the series was capable of pulling off, but it did, and it made way for new themes that were executed so brilliantly. The characters, both old and new, have been given a lot more insight and development over the course of the series, and as well as being so entertaining to watch, that's easily made this cast one of my favourites of all time. The fight scenes were phenomenal in terms of animation and choreography, showcasing that Studio Bones and the people behind it are a powerhouse when it comes to action set pieces. It was tough trying to choose between whether this or Made in Abyss should be my anime of the year, but what gave Hero Aka the edge is that it reminded me why I watch anime in the first place. I felt that same sense of thrill and excitement that I had all those years ago when I first started getting into the medium, and it showed that in the face of a bleak and despairing situation, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and to note that this series is bringing that kind of message to a new generation of viewers who are getting into the medium as well is really amazing. In a year that was as dire and as miserable as 2017, we can rest assured that these shows can help us rise above these circumstances, and we all have the potential to go beyond. Plus ultra. And there you have it, folks, that is my top 10 favorite anime of 2017. Again, keep in mind that this list is just my opinion, and that while I saw a lot more anime than I would have in any other year, I haven't seen every single series that came out this year, so apologies if something you really like isn't on this list. I probably haven't seen it. But I still want to hear from you guys. What were some of your favorite series of the past year? Do you agree or disagree with some of my choices here? Let me know from the comment section below. I'd be really happy to hear from you. And that's about it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want to see more content from me, then make sure you hit the subscribe button to be notified whenever I upload a new video, and make sure you follow me on Twitter to follow updates and other miscellaneous things I happen to post up there at IrishAnimeFan, link in the description below. Anyway guys, I've been IrishAnimeFan, and until next time, so long.